Shakespeare scholars were well positioned to help us understand what had happened with the election and the presidency of Donald Trump, because we know tragedy,
Mhm.
and the Donald Trump story follows the structure of tragedy, and it ended tragically. Think about the Saturday Night Live approach to Donald Trump, right? Which
Yeah.
is to mock Donald Trump, to satirize Donald Trump. That always made me a little bit uneasy because I wasn't quite ready to laugh about that yet. In Shakespeare world, you saw the same thing with folks who were drawing analogies to Falstaff, Shakespeare's bottom. So comic characters who are self-conceited and they're fools, and they get proven to be the fool. That's kind of not what I saw. I saw much more Shakespeare's tragic figures. With Donald Trump, you see not one single Shakespearean figure, but you see kind of snapshots of multiple ones. You see Julius Caesar, who thinks that he's this god over people and not one of them. You see Richard III, who's this power hungry criminal whose clownishness seduces others. You see Macbeth, whose thirst for
Mhm.
power is wrapped up in this really fragile masculinity that he has. With Trump, you see Henry VI, who was this child king whose inability to run a government led to kind of counselor infighting all around him. You see Angelo in Measure for Measure, who claims that he's a law and order guy, but then he's actually kind of worst criminal there is. And then you see King Lear, who is so completely bound up the personal with the political that the collapse of one is the collapse of the other. The kind of the core of Shakespeare's version of tragedy is that you have these entitled, privileged people who are in positions of power, and power in the government is centralized at the top, and then their fragile emotions kind of get called into question. And because there's no separation between the public and the personal, when the individual experiences turmoil, then society experiences turmoil. Eventually, what I ended up realizing was that Shakespeare scholars were well positioned to help us understand what had happened with the election and the presidency of Donald Trump, because we know tragedy,
Mhm.
and the Donald Trump story follows the structure of tragedy, and it ended tragically.